Howdy folks, welcome back to my World of Tanks replays with the mighty Jingles. Today we're in the garage with the KV-1S Russian Tier 6 heavy tank, one of two Russian Tier 6 heavy tanks, KV-1S being the one that leads up to the IS-7 and the T-150 being the one that leads up to the IS-4. Soviet Steel Weekend going on at the moment on the EU server. I've been investing in some heavy Russian metal. As you can see, it sits here in the tech tree, KV-1S, ding, which leads to the IS, IS-3, IS-8 and IS-7. T150, KV3, KV4, STI and IS4. KV1S, I think this is a keeper. I don't think I'll be selling this tank. I've been having an amazing amount of fun in this thing. And it's down to two factors, that gun and the speed of the thing. It's just such a fun combination. But we'll get on to that after we've had a look at the stats. 810 hit points, which seems like a fair amount. I mean, it is a heavy tank, so it does have a reasonable chunk of hit points. I mean, compare it to the Tier 6 medium, the T-34-85, which has 720 with the upgraded turret. So, you know, it has more hit points than an equivalent tier medium. But T-150 has 880. And I don't have an M6, but the M6 American has 840, and I dare say when you stick the upgraded turret on it, it'll have even more. So it does have the lowest health of the Tier 6 heavies. But still, you know, 810 hit points is a reasonable amount. It allows it to take two direct hits from this monster 122mm gun and still live. So it's, you know, it'll get the job done. It's also quite light for a heavy tank. It's basically based on the chassis of a lightened KV with an IS turret stuck on the top. And so mine weighs in at just under 44 tons, and it has a 600 horsepower engine, which means 43 kilometers per hour top speed on a heavy tank. That's not bad at all, and it accelerates very, very well. Turning speed is pretty good for a heavy tank, 30 degrees. I mean, that's the same as the IS-3. So it ain't bad. It's faster than the IS-4. It's faster than the KV. Not as fast as the IS, but it turns almost twice as fast as the T-150. So, yeah, we're quite happy with the 30-degree traverse speed on a heavy tank. We'll skip the armour for the moment, come back to that later. Turret traverse isn't terrible either, 28 degrees. You know, it's not bad. Look at the IS-3. 26 degrees, IS-4, 22 degrees, you know, it's better than the higher tier tanks. Turret traverse, not fantastic, but, you know, gets the job done, and better than most. And the view range, well, the view range is okay. It's quite surprising, actually. I mean, it's a big, tall tank, and if you look at something like the Jagdpanzer IV, now, the Jagdpanzer IV is about the same size as this, minus the turret. And the Jagdpanzer IV, for a really, really low profile machine, also has 330 meter view range. Tier 6 tank destroyer. This thing sits about 5 feet higher than the Jagdpanzer IV, but it's very, very short-sighted in comparison. Same view range, but much bigger machine. You'd expect it to be able to see further, but crappy Russian optics, it can't. I mean, 330 isn't a terrible view range, but you're by no means a scout in this thing. Signal range, however, is shockingly bad. 440 meters. That is terrible. Even for a tier 6 vehicle, that Russian radio, that 10RK, is just crap. And it fits a wide variety of vehicles. Unfortunately, your mid-tier Russians are kind of cursed with these crappy radios. And on larger maps, you're going to see enemy tanks disappearing from the radar, even though you know there are friendly tanks who are shooting at them, because you just don't have the signal range to maintain contact. Now, armour. It's not especially well armoured, but it's not poorly armoured either. 75mm of hull armour at the front, 60 at the sides and rear. The turret is 100mm all round. Now, it does have that very, very good sloped upper glacis that will bounce quite a few shots, same as on the KV. Obvious weak spots on the front, well, this little hatch here, machine gun port there, and these two little periscopes here, but they're very, very small targets to hit. However, if you can hit this part of the upper hull, you usually penetrate or hit weak spots. So that's, if you can aim for it, is the place to shoot at a KV-1S from the front. I'm not entirely certain what the thickness of the armour is here, but I do have issues penetrating it with the 57mm gun on the T-34-85, for example, and sometimes with the 75mm gun on the Panzer IV. However, which is kind of bizarre, because it's quite flat on, and I don't normally have problems getting through the front of the turret, which has 100mm of armour. It's better armour. These tanks don't really feel as if that gun mantle offers anything much in the way of additional protection. I mean, if you look at it, it just doesn't seem to be any thicker than the front of the turret. Now, the thing about this sloped upper glacis is, while it will bounce a lot of shots, that's a bit of a problem actually. It can be a bit of a shot trap, because yeah, it'll bounce a shot, but where's that shot going to go if it hits here? Yep, straight up into the bottom of the turret. And I've had my gun knocked out on numerous occasions in this and the IS, because it's exactly the same profile at the front. Well, not exactly the same on the IS, it's very similar on the IS. And you will find you get your gun knocked out, or perhaps your gunner killed, quite often from frontal shots, and it's not because they penetrate the turret directly, it's because they bounce off this and they straight up in through the bottom of the turret at the front. And the turret is, I mean, it is 100mm thick, but let's just put this into some sort of perspective here. The standard Tier 6 German medium tank gun and Tier 6 tank destroyer tank gun, the 88mm L56, has received a lot of criticism for not having enough penetration, and that has 132mm of penetration. And the thickest armour you have on this thing is 100mm. Now, if you're getting shot at from the front, I mean, there's a couple of weak spots on the turret as well, like this massive cap on the top, the commander's viewport and hatch, whatever you want to call it, and these little things here are, you can penetrate these as well, but why aim for them when you've got this massive plug sitting on the top of the turret that is so easy to penetrate and such a big target? From the rear, obviously, a little machine gun port at the back here, and wherever you choose to shoot, generally at the back. Sides, it's the same story as most Russian tanks. You'll find that you get lucky with the tracks eating a lot of shots, but the side armour is only 60mm thick, and pretty much anything can penetrate you if they miss the tracks and smack straight into the side, because it is not sloped at all. Look at that, it's just this big square-sided box. Very easy to penetrate from the sides. But none of that really matters, because playing the KV-1S, it's all about the derp. It's this monster of a gun. So we have a look at the tech tree, and there's quite a few guns to choose from on this thing. Stock, you start off with the 76mm IS-5, and it's an absolute piece of crap. However, to get to the KV-1S, you've got to go through the KV-1. And on the KV-1, you get the choice of the 122mm U11 or the 85mm F30. Now, the KV-1S does not use the F30, but it does use the 122mm U11. Now this is the derp gun. It's a howitzer, basically. It has two kinds of ammo, HE or gold. So forget the gold. HE only has 61mm of penetration, but if it does penetrate, it'll do 450 damage, and it's horribly inaccurate, and it takes forever to load and forever to aim. It's a derp gun. It looks really weird on the front of one of these things. You've got this big ass tank with this tiny little stubby tube sticking out the front. It's about that long, and it's not a terrible choice to grind up with, but I wouldn't research that on this. I would get it on the KV-1 and unlock this 76mm S54 as soon as possible, because the more time you spend grinding out 3750 XP for that, the less time you're grinding out the 4300 XP you need for that to unlock the turret to get the 122mm gun. Now you could go, and you're going to have to go for the 85mm D5T gun to unlock the IS and get up to tier 7, but you want to grind the XP for that using this thing, this 122mm gun, and we'll have a look at the stats of the two. And they basically make this thing into two completely different tanks. The 85mm is all about rate of fire. It's horrible. It's just as inaccurate as the D25T, It has slightly better aiming time, but it's still crap aiming time. It doesn't have anywhere near as good penetration, and it has barely half the damage. In fact, it doesn't even have half the damage. And this is entirely, in my opinion, the wrong kind of gun to be using on this tank. Because to achieve the damage per minute of the 122mm, you have to sit exposed to enemy fire, pumping shots out at them. And that just ain't the way to play this tank. This thing needs to have that 122mm D25T gun, and here's why. It has a really, really slow reload. As you can see, I haven't fitted any equipment to it because I just can't afford it at the moment. And that gun has a 15-second reload. And we're talking about tier 10 tank destroyer reload speeds here with that thing. But that doesn't matter. It has 175mm of penetration, which is pretty good. It does nearly 400 average damage. 390 damage. Now, the IS-3, which is a tier 8, 2 tiers higher than this, does the same damage every time it hits with its BL9 gun. That is a phenomenal amount of damage for a tier 6 tank to be doing. It's horrifically inaccurate, 0.46 accuracy, but it doesn't matter. It takes forever to aim, 3.4 second aiming time, but that doesn't matter either. And the reason it doesn't matter is because what you do with this tank is you drive in up to a corner, you park on the corner, you load the gun, you stick your nose around, you derp that thing into the face of whatever's waiting for you on the other side, and then you back off and wait for a reload. And the guy on the other side goes, "What the hell was that?" as he watches half of his health evaporate. And that's how you make this gun work. You make the horrible accuracy and horrible aiming time completely irrelevant by getting up so close that you don't need to aim, and you don't need. I've forgotten how to speak English. You don't need to wait for the sights to settle down, and you don't really need to aim because you can't miss because you're 5 feet away from your target, and then you just derp them with that gun, take off 400 of their health, and leave them reeling in shock and scrambling backwards trying to get out of the way. And that's what makes this tank work, and what makes it so much fun. Now, as for equipment, having said all that, the case I've just made for rendering the aiming time and the accuracy completely irrelevant, you still are going to want, you're definitely going to want a large caliber tank gun rammer, because a 15-second reload, even with 100% crew, is just, that's probably the only drawback of the tank, the reload speed of that gun. You are going to want an enhanced gun laying drive, because the aiming speed is really, really bad, 3.4 seconds. You cannot use this gun as a sniper. I mean, you're going to come across situations where you have to shoot at long range, but if you end up in a long range shooting match with just about any other tank, they're going to win. Unless they don't have the penetration to get through your armour, in which case just drive up to them and derp them. That's how you'll beat them. You don't want to be using this gun at long range because it'll take far too long to aim, and then it'll just miss anyway. 0.46 accuracy and 3.4 second aiming time, forget it. Having said that, yeah, definitely large caliber tank gun rammer, definitely enhanced gun laying drive, but put the gun rammer on first. And then I would probably say go for improved ventilation, because that will help you with the aiming time and the reload as well. With this thing, it's all about getting the aiming time and the reload down. But more importantly, the reload. Now, as for crew skills, I have gone for, and I've only had this thing a day, I've gone for Mentor on the Commander, just to get the rest of the crew skills up as quickly as possible. For the Gunner, I've gone with Snapshot, and that's purely just for nosing around a corner, swinging the turret around, going boom, and then backing off, just making sure it doesn't miss. The Driver, I've gone with clutch braking, because, you know, I mean, 30 degrees traverse speed is pretty good, but this tank is all about zooming around corners, turning, firing, and zipping back, so yeah, clutch braking is going to help with that. And then for the radio operator and loader, I've just gone with repairs. Simple as that, purely because, and I do this on a lot of my heavy tanks, I always think it's a good idea to have some repair skills on a heavy tank, because you're number one target for artillery, and even if artillery misses, it's going to knock your tracks off. And repair kits are much more valuable for getting guns back in action or repairing damaged ammo racks, and you really don't want to know. You do not want to know what the reload of this thing is like with a damaged ammo rack. Oh, or a dead loader. Oh. It's horrific, and that's what I prefer using small repair kits for, rather than getting the tracks back up. Um, and that pretty much just covers everything. Oh, and you definitely want a fire extinguisher on this thing. I don't know what it is about it, but I keep seeing KV-1Ss on fire. The engine doesn't appear to have any worse chance of fire and impact, but I don't know if the transmission's at the front, or I mean, I've seen this thing get shot in the turret and then the engine bursts into flames. Don't ask, just pack a fire extinguisher. But yeah, I've had some fantastic games in this thing, and I'm going to share some of them with you. Here we go. So, KV-1S in a Tier 8 game. Well, this is a very Tier 8 game. It's Type 59s, T28 prototypes, Target 2s, IS-3s, KV-5s, Super Persians, you name it, it's here. Worst possible matchmaking you're ever going to see in this tank. Tier 6 heavy and a big old Tier 8 game. And the thing about this tank with this gun is it is very, very dangerous for the KV-1S when you get into this sort of game. Because to make this gun work, you need to get close. And you can forget about your armour saving you from the kind of guns that are going to be shooting back at you in this sort of game. Even the mediums can rip you open. Yeah, that was never going to hit. So your best bet in this sort of game is to find another tank. Especially bearing in mind you're really slow reload. Find another tank bigger than you, follow them around, kill what they shoot at. So I've got a choice here, I've got an IS-3 over here, I've got a Tiger and an IS up there. Which ones am I going to back up? I need to be real careful I don't block this IS-3. Whoops. Okay, let's join the... Actually no, let's go this way, let's go with the Tiger. There's an IS-3 around that corner. And a Tiger 2. Where'd he go? He's just on the other side of that. Oh, I actually took a bounce from Tiger 2. This I have to see. Where did he hit me? Oh, I can't tell. That Tiger 2 driver will be cursing. I just took 400 of his health off. He bounced off me. Awesome. Okay, I'm reloaded. No idea where he hit me. It bounced right off. Okay, the Super Persian's going for the IS-3. Tiger 2's backed off. Type 59's dead. I should go and help with that IS-3. Keeping an eye on that KV-5 though. Oh, here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Have him, have him, have him, have him, have him. Damn it, hit the building. Yeah. And now you've got to sit here 15 seconds waiting for that thing to reload. Oh, hello. Well, while it's loading, it can also be aiming. And, oh, yeah. Big hit on the Tiger. I see, I'd want to go around the corner and kill that IS-3, but Tiger's sitting there. You know, screw it. It's worth the risk. Worth the risk to get that kind of shot into a Tier 8 heavy tank. Oh, yes. Oh, crap. Tiger 2. My ass is exposed to that Tiger over there as well. Oh no, no, good. KV-5 shooting at me. I can't believe I haven't actually taken a hit yet. This is the sort of environment the KV-1S is built for. City streets, flying around buildings. Oh. Yeah, let's prepare the track. Let's not be sitting in front of a Tiger 2 immobilised. Let's let the Super Persian do that sort of job. Come on, reload, 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 reload. You'd like to think they'd all have better things to shoot at than me, but but of course, you know, it's a lot of the time you think, oh, you had a choice of 3 targets to shoot at and you went for the easiest kill. Well, that's not necessarily a lame thing to do. Because as you can see, we have killed their 2 tier 8 heavy tanks. So killing the KV-1Ss, especially if they have this 122mm gun, killing us off early is never a bad idea. Because we may just be tier 6 heavy in the tier 8 game, but that gun, we just killed their 2 top tanks, the Tiger 2 and their IS-3, in a tier 6 heavy, and that's what this machine does. Looks like they have, is that their IS or their KV-3? It's their IS. I'm trying to cap, and the KV-3's in a position to reset our cap. Well, I can do 43 kph, but there's more than enough people going back to deal with the IS. Yep, they're hitting them. Cap's resetting there. That's never gonna hit. That was a bit wishful thinking, but in the time it takes me to close the distance, I'll have reloaded, so why not? There, IS is dead, cap's reset, and now we just have to kill these guys. We're never going to cap, not with these 2 fellas overlooking the cap circle. Oh, that might have actually hit him, but IS-3 killed him before a shot landed. And now all they have left is a KV-3, and that T25/2 is going to get him. Oh, Tiger 2 finished him off from range. There you go, game over. So, the KV-1S. It's a 1300 XP game, 24,000 credits, and we didn't do a massive amount. I mean, we put the fear of God into the Tiger over here. But you know, everything we shot at, we either killed or reduced to very low health, and that's what this gun does. And note that, yeah, while we didn't do a massive amount, 9 shots fired, 5 hit the target. We took 2 hits, only one of which did damage. In a tier 8 game, even 1 damaging hit is going to leave you on low health. Because you don't have a massive amount of health. 810 health is not a lot in a tier 8 game. And your armour doesn't mean anything in this sort of game. But your gun is just as dangerous as anything else that the enemy team have in their tanks. I mean, tier 8 game, IS-3, top tier tank, your gun does the same damage as the IS-3. And the guys that we killed, top tier, both tier 8s. So never, ever, ever underestimate the power of a KV-1S with that 122mm gun, because it can change the outcome of games. I mean, I'm not saying I did, but in other circumstances, killing the top 2 enemy tanks, that can be a game breaker. So let's have a look at another one. So we're here in Ruinberg. It's another tier 8 game. And again, there's a lot of tier 8s on the team. In fact, I think there's even more tier 8s in this game than there were in the last one. Possibly it's the same. So it's pretty much tier 6s and tier 8s. There's only actually 2 tier 7s on each side. But once again, Ruinberg, city map, lots of corners for us to hide around while we wait for that gun to reload. Now, a smart enemy will know to come around the corner and start killing you if you're parked on the other side of the corner, and he knows you're alone there, because 15-second reload. Well, you can get it down to around 13 seconds with and 100% crew. But dumb enemies. Oh crap. Oh crap, an ISU. Right, he can one-shot kill me. I hit him, but it bounced. I'm not sticking my nose around the corner of that building while there's an ISU, because that KV-1S, yeah, there you go, that's what ISU 152s can do to KV-1Ss. And that's why I didn't hang around on that corner. Scout rushing for our artillery. Oh, great. Well, I'm amazed I hit him, to be quite completely honest. This is not the tank that you want to pick for taking out scouts. Hit him, blew his tracks off, didn't do any actual damage. So you've got two KV-1Ss, the only one's going back to base to deal with this scout. He's just raped our artillery. Oh, got him. Oh, and this is what you don't want, to be tracked and immobilised in front of a Tiger 2. Same as in the last game, one hit from a Tiger 2, suddenly you're on 56%. Now there's two of us. Oh, that shot went... Ah, did you see that? Did you see where that shot went? Nowhere near where we aimed. High and to the right. 0.46 accuracy for you. That's more like it. Come on, let's get this guy. Okay, he's fine. He's killed the KV-1S, so we should be able to have him. I'm not going to ram a Tiger 2 to death at 6%. I'm just not heavy enough. And there we go. Type 59 finishes him off with a flank shot as he's concentrating on me. And now all they have left are two Type 59s, but I'm an easy kill. I'm a one-hit kill for anything in this game now. After taking 2 hits. That 810 health is a good amount of health, but it's not a lot in a tier 8 game. So yeah, I know there's a Type 59 up there. Yes, thank you for pinging the map, fellas. I'm not going first. I have 147 health. Do I look stupid to you? We're about to cap. Either of these Type 59s can one-shot kill me. I should probably be saving myself some repair bills instead of chasing after these fellas, but there we go, we've capped. Just in time for me to get one-shotted before the match ends. No, I think I might get away with it. There we are. And again, 1100 XP. And again, didn't actually do an awful lot. Same as in the last game. 6 shots fired, 5 hit the target. But the guys that we shot at, okay, with the exception of the VK2801, top tier. And so you get that experience bonus for shooting at, damaging and killing tanks higher tier than you are. So some sort of special event going on while this one was recorded, times 3 XP, but 1100 experience, 41, nearly 42,000 credits. Yeah, and funnily enough, we didn't get any awards. So, but the point is that the KV-1S, even when it's bottom of the team list, tier 6 tank in a tier 8 match is a tank that you have to respect, and it's because of that gun, and it's fast enough to get to places where that gun starts to be very, very useful. But in a game where this thing is top tier, I mean, you've seen what happened. You've seen the respect that tier 8s pay to KV-1Ss when they know you've got the 122mm gun. Imagine what it's like when you're in a top tier game where tier 6 is top of the list. Now, how about this for screwed up matchmaking? Look at that. One of our top tanks is a tier 5 light, followed by 3 artillery. Look at this, 6 Hummels. Oh, God. So, yes, well, this should be an interesting game. Might be very, very short, though.
Time to roll out.
And I am not going anywhere near the village by the crossroads up at D0, because with 3 Hummels in play, yeah. Screw that. We're going to go street fighting. Well, here comes something big. Oh, looks like... Wow, look at that. almost all of their team at Panzer 3-4 as suicide scouted, which is a bit of a waste for a tier 5 medium. Okay. Big trouble coming down this road. Let's go and say hi. Try to keep myself tucked in the side of the buildings here because of what? Oh, hello. Come on, load. Aim, aim, aim. Yes! Gaha! Good, well done. Almost finished him off. Wow. Jeez, look at this. Look at what we've killed so far. Right, my major concern at this point isn't so much killing those fellas coming up into the village, because we've got enough people waiting there to kill them. It's getting spotted by them with all this artillery in play. Now, there were some big guys came around this corner, which means they've probably gone down this road. Oh yes, they have. Oh crap, there's a 3601 behind me. Oh, wow, somebody just bounced off my ass. I need to move, need to move, need to move, need to move. Let's get this Panzer IV. Oh god, it never stops being funny. Oh, I'm gonna die here, but I can't even see that 3601 shooting at me, and here comes artillery, and I can't move because my track's been blown off, and I'm gonna die. Yeah, there it is. But, yeah, that comfortable win. And an amusing game anyway. But look at the matchmaker. God almighty. Anyway, let's have a proper match. So, finally, a tier 6 maximum game. Unfortunately, it's assault on Malinovka. We're defending. Now, this is the sort of game that rarely fills me with a warm and fuzzy feeling. What do we have here? A couple more KV-1Ss. One of them has an 85mm. A KV-1. And where are these guys going? Oh, yes. Here we go. KV-1 rushing for the ridgeline. KV-1S rushing for the ridgeline. Two KV-1Ss rushing for the... Oh, just please shoot me. Look at these idiots. So once again, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the KV-1S. This gun is so inaccurate, it takes so long to aim and so long to load. Down here in the woods is where you need to be on this tank. Not just because down here in the woods is where somebody needs to be, but because as a KV-1S, it's the only place you can be effective with this bloody gun. And there I am in chat voicing my displeasure. Look how long this thing takes to aim.
Penetration. They're hit. Enemy fuel tank is hit.
Oh, yes. Come on, reload, reload, reload. Reload faster. Oh, robbed. Anyway, he's dead. Well, at least the 3601H has a brain. You cannot afford to rush a shot with this gun, especially not when you're shooting at range, because the consequences of a miss are catastrophic. It's a 15-second reload. So, yep, hit him, knock most of his health off, track him, 3601 finishes him off. And that's fine. Absolutely fine. We have 0 kills so far. Doesn't matter. because the damage that we've done to enemy tanks has been absolutely catastrophic. Yeah, watch this. Look at that. That was a low damage roll. And in the time it takes you to reload, 2 or 3 other enemy tanks hit them and they finish them off. And just by sitting here in these woods with this tank, with just one other tank as backup, we have basically won this game. Oh, those retards in the KV, in the tier 5 and 6 heavies on the hill, are doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because pretty soon we are now going to be so far down this hill that they can't see what we're shooting at. And even when they could see what we were shooting at, they couldn't hit them. Because their guns aren't accurate enough. And they take too long to aim. Those guys should be down in these woods with us. But of course, random games. Oh, hello, Mr. SU-26. Oh, Panzer IV. Okay, he's blown my tracks off. However, I have a friend. Yeah, he will hit me 2 or 3 times before I can load. But when I do load... This isn't the ideal environment for a KV-1S. Whoa, did I just see a shotgun zooming past? I think I did. Yep, T1 heavy tank. And he's not stupid. He doesn't want to get hit by this gun. But I've got my 3601 with me as backup. I just wish he was a bit closer, but he is following me now. And ARL V39, who could quite legitimately have just sat on top of the hill. He is a tank destroyer, but no, he's coming down here to get stuck in with us. Good man. Drive by. Gangster style. And I'm probably not going to get to finish this guy off. Just because of that reload time. There you go, 3601 takes it out. So myself and that 3601 did a good double team act here. I would derp them, he would finish them off while I was reloading, or they would spot me, shoot. He would soften them up, I would finish them off once I'd reloaded. Good little bit of teamwork between myself and this 3601. Effectively, that's 5 kills between us. Now, they still have a KV-1S and an SU-5. Oh, no. They no longer have an SU-5. There's their KV-1S. Trying to tack up by the church on the other side of the hill. And look at this prick here. This fella hasn't moved the entire game. Ugh. So, yeah, even when you have a team largely composed of window-licking, oxygen-thieving retards like the KV-1Ss and KV-1s who decided to camp the ridgeline, you can still make a difference. It just takes 1 or 2 players to know what they're doing, defending a map like Malinovka. And you have... How can I put this? No disrespect intended towards the enemy team. But as a team, they weren't that good. And with 1 or 2 players defending key positions on Malinovka who know what they're doing, if the enemy team isn't that good, because they only came at us 1 at a time. We never had to, except for the small rush right at the beginning, we never really had to deal with more than 1 tank at a time. And a KV-1S and a VK-3601 shooting at 1 tank at the same time, this guy's going to wreck it real quick in a tier 6 game. So then they did make it easy for us. If the enemy team had been slightly more coordinated and had come up the woods together, yeah, we'd have probably died. We'd have hurt them, but we'd have probably died. But they didn't, and so we didn't, and so you end up looking at a 1200 point experience win. with 35,000 credits. And out of 9 shots fired, they hit the target. Because when you're camping in the woods there, you have to make sure, you have to wait, you have to be patient, you have to hold your fire until you know you're going to hit. Otherwise, you've just consigned yourself to scoring no damage, doing nothing but give your position away, and you're sitting in a bush, illuminated, with 15 seconds to wait before you can do anything about it. And if you get the first strike in with this tank and this gun, well, you see what the consequences are. It does a phenomenal amount of damage. So, well, that was the KV-1S, the Russian Tier 6 heavy tank. One of the two, actually one of the three, the KV-2 and the T-150 being the other two. This, by far, being the fastest and probably the most dangerous of the lot. That 122mm gun is absolutely just lethal. Does the same damage on a hit as the gun of the IS-8, the BL-9 gun. Not the IS-8, sorry, the IS-3, the BL-9 gun. And at Tier 6, that is just totally off the charts. 390 average damage in a Tier 6 heavy tank gun is just fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed the replays. Maybe learned something about the KV-1S, and if I've encouraged one person to go out there and buy one and start grinding towards that 122mm gun, then my job is done. So in the meantime, take care on the battlefield, and I'll catch you later.